Howdy Cup and welcome to another episode here for the Funkit Pod, Mindful Media and Communication. And today we are talking about, well, something that aligns perfectly with the Funkit moniker of this podcast. We're talking about how to not give a funk. And I understand I'm not the first one to talk about this. There are books about the art of not giving an F. And I figured there are so many people interested in that. There must be a reason. So let's look into the communication and media theories that apply in regards to why should we not give an F, or why do we actually give an F. Here we go. So as an intro, let me quickly explain why we actually care so much. Like, why do we stress over things that really do not matter to us? And this could be things such as stuff you see online, for example, Instagram, YouTube, wherever you're spending your time, on Twitch, whatever. Why do you care so much about those things? Why do you care so much about what your classmates do, what your colleagues do, what your parents do? Why do we care so much about what they think of us, what they see of us? Why do we care what other people think of us? Why do we care so much about stuff that is not in our control? So that's something I would want to kind of discuss, figure out in the next 10, 12, 15 minutes max. And the thing is, on a personal level, that happens to me a lot too, and that frustrates me because, a communications professor, right, should know like how communication works, how the mind works, all those things. Yet I catch myself stressing about what do my colleagues think about me too? What do my friends, what do people I do sports with, what do random people in a train think when I enter? Like, I hope I don't look silly now. Why do we stress so much about those things, right? So the goal that we share, hopefully right now, is to care less. And caring less in this case does not mean indifference. It doesn't mean like I don't care about anything. It's about setting or being intentional about what to care about and what not to care about. And I think that's the secret to it. Being more intentional. And as you know, what I try to do with this podcast, I try to explain some theories that are out there, media theories, communication theories, sometimes a little bit of psychology, to understand why things are happening. And in the case of like, why do we care so much? There are actually a few like common media and communication theories that really help us understand like why our brains work the way they do. So one, and we discussed this one many a times, is a theory we call agenda setting theory. In this case, right, so agenda setting means the media outlets that we follow, that could be news outlets, that could be TMC, that could be the influencer that you follow, that could be the university that you follow, it could be your employer, the brand you follow, even the friends that you follow. They all have agendas. We all have agendas. And the more people talk about some certain topic, the more important it becomes to us. And here, for example, if the media talks about, I don't know, Elon Musk the whole time, we're thinking, oh wow, it's really important what Elon Musk thinks. And now I'm not even American, so I just picked this example to make a point. Like, to me, it's not an American, not living in America. Does it really matter what Elon Musk says and thinks? It is kind of like global news, but besides that, like, why would I care that much about it, right? So that's just one example. So agenda setting means media frames, or that's another theory, but the media decides what's important by covering it all the time. And then we, as the audience, we follow it. We're like, okay, that must really matter. And this is not only with the news, this is everything, right? It's like also seeing social media, for example, influencers talking about certain things. They're like, oh yeah, if all the influencers talk about it, I guess it must really be something important. And now I'm going to show my age, but if Mr. Beast and Logan Paul and whatnot, if they talk about certain things, you're like, oh yeah, okay, so I does it too. oh yeah, maybe I should really follow that and think about that. That's the agenda setting theory. Okay, so your agenda is to put importance onto a thing, onto a topic, onto behavior that you would want to be amplified by the broader audience. Okay, so that's agenda setting theory. That's one thing. So, and it's so hard to escape it, because if everybody's talking about it, like, am I the weird one for not talking about it? If I withdraw myself from that, will I be left out? Should I jump in on the next trend that everyone's talking about? Well, if I don't do it, I guess. So I guess I have to watch Squid Games 2 now, just so I can talk with everybody about it, as an example. Okay? Secondly, the framing theory. I already spoiled it a little bit. We already talked about it many times on this podcast too. Search on Spotify, wherever you listen, about framing theory in this podcast. You will see many episodes. And framing theory simply means, it's similar to agenda setting, but it means like how things are presented to us. Okay? So it doesn't tell us, hey, you have to think that, but it's more like, hey, look, I put what's happening into a certain frame to show you the direction you should be thinking in. For example, at the time of recording, this past weekend, great podcast with you one, by the way, this past weekend was the NBA All-Star weekend. And I used to be a huge basketball fan. And so now they changed the format because the players don't play hard anymore during the All-Star game and so on. So now you put a frame on it, like, hey, the new format was awesome. Or you put a frame onto like, this new format was terrible. Yeah, same event, different frames. And this also influences us. So not only if you're a basketball fan in this case, but yeah, the news put frames on certain happenings. Trump president, amazing, versus Trump president, terrible, right? Different frames, same news, for example. And again, it's not only in the news. It's in entertainment. It's the movies you're watching. What do they talk about? It's the influencers we follow. What do they talk about? How do they talk about stuff? Is Mr. Beast awesome, for example? Or is he like a scammer, for example, allegedly, right? So different frames onto like the same source, so to speak, onto the same event that's happening. Okay, so it's framing. So if there are lots of frames about certain topics out there, we start to care about it. We're like, oh yeah, right. Maybe I should know more about the Google in America renaming the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, for example, things like that. Even though I'm not there and it doesn't affect me at all. Yeah. So we have agenda setting theory and we have framing theory so far. The third one that I would want you to understand is one that's called social comparison theory. Okay. In social comparison theory, I think it's self-explanatory. So if you actually listen to this podcast, you probably understand it already. We know that social media sets the complete wrong, false benchmarks when it comes to how your life should look like, how our life should look like, right? So we have to ask ourselves, are we actually chasing our own goals or are we chasing someone else's goals? Because we are so influenced by what we see. Right? We call this also then in media theory, we call this an hyperreality. So meaning that we're in an area of postmodernism where not everything is real that you see anymore. Hyperreality basically just means that what you see, we don't know if it's real or not real. But as soon as you take it for real, if you believe it, it becomes real to us. So it doesn't matter if it's real or fake. If it's orchestrated, scripted, doesn't matter. If we think it's real in our mind and it will influence us. Okay, so that's hyperreality like in a nutshell. And yeah, thanks to social media, but of course also other media outlets, but social media just amplifies all that, of course. Yeah, we see like those ideal lifestyles everywhere, right? Like how it's supposed to be, people on yachts and having great parties and big cars and whatnot. And you're like, oh yeah, I'm 25, I'm 20, 30, I'm 40, whatever. That's how my life should be. Should it though? Should your life be like the life of others, the fake lives of others? Should that be your life? Why do we chase that? Why do we care about? And we know it's fake what we see on social media. When's the last time you posted a picture that wasn't edited, at least a little bit? Or at least the caption, at least you thought about the caption for like 5 minutes. You didn't just post what you thought. You just, let me get the right caption. Everything is curated. We know that. Why do we still care? Social comparison theory. We compare ourselves to others that we see in a similar space, be it at work, be it on social media, wherever it might be, in the gym. We always compare ourselves because it's what people do. You want to see like, how am I doing? How am I feeling? What are others doing? But why? I mean, the social comparison theory explains the why. Or why is the rhetorical question, why are we doing that? Okay? So that's social comparison theory. Do you really do what you're doing because of you want to do it? Or because people around you are doing it, you feel like you have to do it, and so on. You feel like you have to fit in and stand out and whatnot. Social comparison theory. The last one, and then I move on from the theoretical part a little bit, is just look at the algorithm. And I mean, thanks to AI, that's of course crazy enhanced now. Social platforms in particular, of course, they reinforce outrage cycles. So what you engage with, you get more of. So if you engage with fitness content, you get more of it. And then quite likely you get more like jacked and bigger and stronger. And you're like, oh, should I be looking like this? Like I'm the same age. And then, of course, we're doubting ourselves again. And we care about like this way too much again. And that's not only with fitness, it's with anything, right? With success at work, studies, friendship, relationships, whatever it might be. Like, hey, look at this relationship. Oh, God, I have all that. Oh, look at this cute proposal. Oh, why don't I have that? Yeah. And then you engage with it, you get more of it. So this is also one of the reasons why we see content that isn't really helpful to us. Even though it's like, oh, cute in the moment, if it keeps happening, agenda setting, framing theory, you look at it as in a certain way, thinking, oh, this is how it's supposed to be, even though it's curated. Okay, so that's important to understand here. Okay, so that's like, why do we care so much? And I already spent way too much time on that, but it's like, why do we care so much? And now I want to let you know, like, why is it so hard to stop caring? I ask, like, now after every theory, I ask, like, why, right? The rhetorical why. And the thing, I'm going to add 2 more theories, and then I tell you, like, what we could be doing. 2 theories for the why is it so hard to stop caring. Well, one is what we call the cognitive dissonance theory. Okay, it's also a communication theory. And this theory tells us that it's hard for people to admit that they're wrong. Now, we defend bad decisions all the time. Why? Because we don't want to admit that we're wrong. So if we do something that's not in our best interest, like, I don't know, but I think it's okay, and I really wanted this and really wanted to do that, and I didn't do it because of them, because I saw it online. I really thought it's a good idea. You buy something that you're not supposed to buy, right? Oh no, it's actually, maybe I can use it. Or you go on a trip you shouldn't be going on, or you, I don't know, buy a new car or buy a concert ticket or whatever. And you're like, you never say I did it because I saw it on social media. You say, no, I think it's really a good idea for me to try this right now. Right now is the perfect timing for me to try, because it's the end of February, and so that aligns with my horoscope. But you know how we find excuses for everything, right? We never admit that we're wrong, that we made bad decisions, that we were influenced by social media, advertisement, influencers, what we saw on TV, whatever that might be. We don't want to admit that. So we always find reasons to say, like, no, it's my decision, and I think it's a good decision. And admit when you're wrong. It's okay. Everybody's wrong at times. No one's perfect. No one should be perfect. Break out of the cycle. Do it. You can do it. And I'll tell you in a second how. Okay. And one more quick callback to 2 minutes ago. AI, algorithms, reinforcement loops. Right? Algorithms, and I know that you know that. Otherwise, you wouldn't be listening to this podcast or even watching it. If you're watching it, you're a real one. I appreciate it. Leave a comment if you're watching it on Spotify. Actually, I would be curious to hear or read how many people are watching it. So algorithms, algorithms, they create echo chambers that make everything you watch feel urgent. You're watching something, you're like, oh my God, wow, what this? And then you spend 30 seconds on it, and then the algorithm is like, oh, you just engaged, you watch this for 30 seconds, let me show you more. And you're like, oh, and this too, oh my God, and then you're in this echo chamber and you're not getting out anymore because social media wants to keep you in the echo chamber. Why would they let you out? If you're in the echo chamber, you're engaging, you're interacting, you're sharing, spending time, watching ads, making them money, giving your data away. Yeah, echo chambers are great for the platforms, terrible for us, and we need to break free from those echo chambers. Should be a shirt. I'm my own echo chamber. Break free. Okay, break free from those echo chambers. Don't let them being the platforms, control you. Okay? Important. Takeaway. We are all in echo chambers all the time. We need to break out. Okay? We need to break out of those echo chambers. Don't keep being stuck in there. And we all know we are in echo chambers. Everybody is in echo chambers because it's easy. Agenda setting, framing theory, I explained it earlier. You need to be active to break out of those. Okay. So how do we do this? How do we break out of giving an F about stuff that does not benefit us? And well, there are different approaches, and I only want to give you 3 very quick. We call this the 3 buckets method, also in those books, but also when you talk to psychologists and things like this, it's usually one of the first things that you learn. Okay, so first of all, you have to reframe what you pay attention to. Okay, so first there are things that we call non-negotiables, right? So what goes into the bucket that's non-negotiable? That's the most important thing to you. For example, health, relationships, and maybe, hopefully, the values that you stand for. Okay, so those are the things that you say, okay, that's non-negotiable. I take those things, put them in the non-negotiable bucket. This comes first always. I will always care about those things because it really matters. Health, relationships, my values. As an example, you can put other things in that bucket, okay? Okay. Then bucket number 2. Situational stuff that you have to get done, work obligations, for example. Worst thing ever, social commitments. Yeah, so this goes into the situational stuff. Okay, shouldn't be the most important priority, but I do have to get it done. Okay, so non-negotiables, situational stuff, and then last bucket is the bullshit distractions. Oh, now I'm getting demonetized on YouTube. The bullshit distractions. Yeah, trends, people pleasing, petty arguments just for the sake of being right, even though it doesn't really matter. Do you spell color with O-U-O-O, for example? Right? Those petty little things. Who cares? Does it really help you? Does it make you feel really better if you're right about the spelling of something or calling something whatever? Does it really? Is it worth the argument with your friend, your partner, your colleague, whatever? Is it really worth the argument? Or can you just let it go and then everybody's happier? Right, so bullshit distractions. So one more time, non-negotiables, what really matters to you, situational stuff, things you gotta get done for whatever reason, work, social commitments, and so on. Bullshit distractions, following trends. Why? Yeah, people pleasing. Why? Yeah, petty arguments. Why? Okay, get rid of those things. The bullshit distraction, put it there, throw it away. Okay. What I like to do in this case, and I had to learn this too, is checking myself. So I'm telling you to check yourself. Nice. Check yourself. Will this matter in the next 6 months? 3 months maybe even only. Will this matter in the future? Then you see if you should care about it. Okay? And yeah, we're coming to an end. Here are just a few takeaways of how to actually give your funds without being a jerk, okay? Because you could always say F off to everything and everybody, but we don't want to be jerks, right? So 3 steps again. First, unsubscribe from external pressure. Why succumb to external pressure? Like, there's no good to what do other people, why can they decide what bothers you, what you should be thinking of? They should not. How dare them, Greta Thunberg voice, how dare them, politicians, how dare them think they can decide what you care about, what you spend your time on, what should be on your mind. That's no one else's decision but yours. Okay, so unsubscribe from external pressure. How? Mute, block, unfollow. Over the past 6 months, I probably blocked, muted, and unfollowed more people than over the past 20 years on social media, probably. It really helps. It makes you feel like you're in charge and you are in charge. So do it. It's self-care. It's not avoidance. It's not like, oh, blocking someone is avoiding them. It's self-care. Why would you have a bully themselves into your time? Why do you let them steal time from you? Right? Time is one of the most valuable things that we have, and it's never coming back once it's gone. It's cliche, but it's true. So don't let others bully you to give them your time. Mute, block, unsubscribe, unfollow. Hit that button. It's actually liberating. Okay. Your homework right now until the next episode comes out: block 5 people, unfollow 5 people. Okay, mute 5 people. Get rid of them. Time is for you to make of it what you want, not for them to take it from you. Okay. Second step: use the pause rule. That's really something that I learned with talking with psychologists. Really helpful, because I used to react very quickly because I thought like, hey, well, I'm arrogant, and so I thought I'm smart-ish enough to argue with everybody. I was like, yeah, let's go arguments. I got it. I can out-argue almost everyone. But is that really necessary is the question. No, it's not. It just pisses you off. It pisses the other person off. Like, why would you do it? So the pause rule is simply like, hey, before you react, before you go like, just, hey, ask, just take a step back, quick pause. Ask yourself, does this really need my input right now? Do I really need to give input, and do I really need to like stand my ground right now? Or does this not add anything? Does it not help anyone? Does it add more fuel to the fire? So pause. It's so simple. And first when I heard about it, I was like, that is stupid because it's so simple, but it really helps. And don't just shoot back right away. It's not a duel, okay? So be like, okay, let me quickly think about it. Okay, stepping back, not mad. Maybe the other person didn't mean it like that. Maybe they did. Doesn't matter. Do I need to start an argument now? Or can I just step back, move a little bit away, and then reply, if I have to, in a more constructive manner? Okay? So that's very, very helpful. So first, unsubscribe. Second, use the pause. Last thing, boundaries. And it doesn't need to be huge boundaries. It could be even micro boundaries. You know, something like, hey, can you do this for me now? And you're like, well, let me check. Let me get back to you. I'll get back to you. Do not overcommit all the time. One more time, time is your currency. It's what you have. It's the most important thing. And if you give away your time to everything and everybody because you try to please everybody, like, yes, I can do that, I can do this, I can do that, I can do this, it will stress you out. It will freak you out. It will make you be anxious. Okay? So try to avoid overcommitting by setting micro boundaries. You don't have to say no to everything all the time, but saying like, well, let me check, let me get back to you, let me think about it, let me check my calendar, things like this. And then you say either, okay, I can do it, or after you thought about it, you just say, maybe not this time. I'm a bit booked right now, a bit stressed right now, maybe not this time. Okay? So unsubscribe from external pressure, use the pause rule. Micro boundaries really help to give less Fs. Okay? And to wrap it up, I think giving less Fs is really about kind of like a mindset shift, if you will. Okay? Because it shouldn't be like a passive thing. It shouldn't be like just running away and like not confronting or handling anything. It should be more intentional. I actively do not care about this. I actively do not spend time on that. Okay? So if you will, like the mantra could be like, giving an F is like a privilege. If you want me to give an F about the stuff that you want from me or that you want to talk to me about or whatever, make it worth it. Yeah, so spend your Fs wisely. You have a finite amount of Fs to give. Give them away wisely. Okay, and the last theory here that I want to introduce, or that I want to remind you of, is what we call the use and gratification theory. You're probably familiar with it if you followed that podcast before. Use and gratification means that we spend time and focus on things, media content, for example, that helps us, with gratification or with what we are looking to achieve. For example, if I look to be entertained, I might watch a sitcom. Gratification right there. If I want to be educated, I might listen to an interesting podcast. Gratification right there. Okay, so the use and gratification theory basically decides what we spend our time on. And if we are more mindful about where and how we spend our time on, then we give less Fs, and we will be happier in the end. Okay. So I'm curious now, so what's something that you stopped giving an F about, or is there anything that you plan on stopping giving Fs about? Shout out. It's the @funkitpod on social media, or the comments, of course, if you listen on Spotify, or funkitpod@gmail.com, funkitpod on social media. Do like, share, subscribe. It would be very helpful to reach a wider audience, and we can have broader discussions. It's always very nice and very helpful. So thank you very much to everybody who does that. Thanks to everybody who listened to the very end. You're an OG. I appreciate that. In the next episode, we're going to talk about loneliness in that age of super connection right now. Why do we feel lonely even though we're connected to everybody all the time? So we're checking this out next week. Until then, as always, stay safe, take care. It's nice having you here. Until next time, don't give so many Fs. So many counts.